up, everyone? It's another episode of Everything Always Works Out podcast. Etawo. I'm here with my co-host
Hey,
DJ Zobe.
er,
Um, Saturday night as we're recording this.
yep,
We're,
August
we're gonna
1st.
August 1st, first of the month. We're
Hey,
gonna talk about that Joe Rogan episode, man. You guys already know
yeah,
me and Zobe are big, DDSA fans
indeed, we are.
and big fans of
If you
Dave.
listen from the beginning,
Yeah.
you know what's up.
So, me and all my homies, we were excited, So, this episode is just gonna be me and, Zobe shooting the shit and, breaking down, the episode and our thoughts, like we said in our very first episode, if you listen, when when we kind of found out about Dave or kind of obsessed over DVDSA, I would say myself and maybe Zoe, you could touch on that as well. We were maybe at a low point in our lives or a time in our lives where it was difficult, which we touched on our first episode. But
Right.
this is a really good episode. It's 3 hours
Mhm.
51 minutes. Um,
Yeah, for all those people that are like, what's this DVDSA these guys are talking about? Like, this is a little glimpse into that world. Or,
mhm,
how do I say, like, this is that podcast was a moment in time, a very crazy, chaotic time.
mhm.
And then now this is Dave coming out of that experience. Like, what has he done since then?
Yeah, I mean,
And maybe
yeah,
and highlighted some things that I learned some new things too. I
yeah,
don't know.
for sure. I mean,
Hmm.
there's glimpses of old Dave in this
Oh yeah,
episode where pre Dave comes out. Where he references when he did the solo ranch episode, or when
hmm,
he's kind of doing stand up, where he's like um, fuck, what do you say, like help me help you and other stuff. Or
thank God for
I'm trying to
you.
remember the bit where he's in front of Joe Rogan and he's screaming, but that's like the day that we remember when
Right,
he's referencing like, man, Joe Rogan thinks I can do comedy, and then I'm on Howard Stern, and they think I could do a TV show. He's gassing his own self up, and
right.
each story was more outrageous than the next. That's how
Yep.
DVDSA was, where
Yeah,
each episode got crazier and crazier. I mean,
it
some of them
did.
were kind of mellowed out, but I mean, even Joe Rogan, he even touched on it where there's like where he was saying like, I was parked outside of my house, and I was like, fuck, I can't remember what Asa and Dave were talking about, but there was this 5 minute rant they were having. I was like, dude, I have to listen to this rant till it's
Right. I want
finished.
to see how this goes out. Like, how
Yeah,
they gonna make this sound right?
yeah, like
Because the story's going south.
yeah,
It's going.
that
Yeah.
show was like just so open and raw, and they
Right.
put it all out on the line, like just you know your own issues, and then criticizing your own issues. Like
Right.
it was like must see TV, but a podcast.
Yeah.
Like
Right. It was.
it was like every Tuesday and Thursday, man. Like holy shit, like it was just so good.
Yeah. But yeah,
And
Rogan had him back on.
hmm
I guess they've been talking to each other still, and like,
yeah, he
well,
said the last time he texted them was like 2018.
2018, yeah,
You know,
2018. He
before he
went,
went back
he
to
went off
Africa.
to Africa. Yeah,
Yeah, man, very good episode. I mean, let's fuck it. Let's just touch on the Anthony Bourdain issue. That was amazing. Seeing Dave, cry, put on the
hmm,
headphones, like try to put the headphones on like 3 times in a row. Really taking it back. Like it really hit him. Like knowing
hmm,
that he could have potentially, or I think not knowing, but he tried to do his best to save his friend, and he made a
right,
really good point. Saying you know at the end of the day you can only get help if you want it. You know what I'm saying? Like
right,
he had all
right,
this resources. He had a great support system. You know, you can't really stop someone from being self-destructive. They have to make that decision to
right,
want to get help. Because in the
right,
episode, Dave talks about going to all these rich people, retreats, resorts, or whatever to you know, better help
mhm,
yourself.
right.
Shout out Paco. I'm just kidding. But
Yeah,
to come full circle, basically, for me personally, like relating to that, I don't know if I said it before in the past, but like as myself, being like really depressed and suicidal in the past, I really agree with what he was saying about Anthony Bourdain and getting help, or just himself in general getting help. I mean, I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but I mean, from what I took from his rant prior to talking about Anthony Bourdain, and then talking about his impact, him grooming him, David Chang and Roy Choi to be the next group, and then what's that restaurant they were eating at?
Chateau Marmont.
Yeah, where just like people going up to you saying, "Hey, can I get a photo?" Like, "Oh my God, I'm a big fan. Sorry to bother." Like,
Yeah.
You can try.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
it's crazy little close to home for us is we were at Matt Spada's little Hollywood, party, 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
We passed by the Chateau Marmont. We got to see that. We
it's nice.
Just
nice.
connection, little DVDA say connection
okay,
there.
A little humble brag.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
nah, man, like I almost started crying when I saw Dave cry. To be honest, man, like I was like, "Fuck, man, he's."
Same. No,
Because like I'm a big Anthony Bourdain fan, and
yeah.
I mean, I never knew he was really going through all that crazy stuff. I knew like he was like an alcoholic and he did drugs,
Right. And I thought he kicked it already.
Yeah, after watching
he had sobriety.
Yeah, after watching what's his show, No Reservations.
No Reservations. Yeah.
And I thought he was okay when he was he took up jiu-jitsu. He was getting healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
Yeah. I mean, what did you think about Dave and his assessment of Anthony Bourdain and him, crying in front of Joe Rogan and Joe Rogan, basically comforting Dave as he let it all out there.
Yeah, no, like I think I don't know if they've. It sounds like they haven't. He hasn't spoken about it in a long time, and then he finally talked with it on Rogan's show, like in that format in front of him, and just letting it all out, And I felt it too, man. I think it's the moment. Like everybody watching, I know, like the clip that's getting the most viewed or whatever is that one with him and Bourdain right now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just like it hit the heart because I think I don't know if you've ever like lost a friend in maybe with suicide or anything to that nature, or just passing away untimely. Like it's like damn, like what could you
have done?
Bourdain, yeah, what could you have done different? And Dave said like he told him what he could have done, like what he knew we could have done, like all the resources, all the therapy and stuff like that, and that didn't. And then Joe was like, well, what did he do after? Did he follow through? And it didn't sound like. It sounded like he was just like he was reaching out, but he didn't take the steps.
Yeah.
Because then you gotta take the steps to move beyond that. And then Dave mentioned like he noticed he's like that, like Bourdain too, where it's like there's people that they'll call out, they'll reach out, right, just to know that there are people that care about me. I want to know, does anybody give a fuck about me? Like that's what these call, like when Bourdain did that call to Rogan, to Choe, to David, that's what he was doing. It's like, does anybody care about me? Does the person I relate to the most, that I think relates to me the most, does he care about me? And he got an answer, but then he didn't really. That's why Dave was like, you're selfish. You killed yourself. And then he got into that moment. Excuse me.
Yeah, you're good. COVID.
Yeah, but and then he broke. He like broke down that moment because he's like, man, what else could he? Couldn't really do much. I mean, you can only do so much for a person. Yeah. They have to want it for themselves.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
Like people ask me about like my sobriety, right? Like I don't drink, I don't smoke anymore, and I quit gradually to cold turkey. I didn't go to AA. I didn't go to any of those places. I kind of did it on my own. Every time I tell somebody in the nightlife, DJ community, I let them know like, hey, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't party, I don't do any of that kind of stuff. they're always like, most of the time they're like, yo, kudos, like props, man, like, man, I wish I could be like you. And I just tell them, because they're like, man, I waste so much money on drinking and drugs and crap, cigarettes, whatever, and I just tell them like, hey, it got to a point where I didn't want it anymore. It was not making me feel good, it was affecting my health. And because prior to that, I actually tried when I was doing my cult thing in Concord. I was trying, because one of my things that I wrote down when I was up, speaking of therapy and self-help and that kind of stuff, one of the things I wrote down in my declaration was like, I want to quit smoking cigarettes. Oh, wow. I didn't say drinking yet. I was just like, I want to just quit. I can still.
How long did you smoke cigarettes
I like drinking,
for, bro?
But I don't want to give up everything entirely. So there's still a part of me that was like, I didn't really want it yet. I just knew that cigarettes was costing too much, and probably is hurting me.
Mm-hmm.
So
how long did you smoke cigarettes for, Zobe?
I started back in college.
Like what, 3 years, 2 years?
No, it was like at least a good 6 years.
Really?
Off and on. Like 6 years total. Yeah, 6, 7 years. Because then
I could never tell.
Promoting days, I was smoking too. Yeah. So I'm like counting like after college. So college, 5, 6 years. Like 8. Like actual I went and I bought packs for myself, and that kind of like, it was a habit. Yeah. And then I made a deck. Like it took like for me to get out of, like, I quit that training thing, that self-help thing in Concord. And then my friend passing away, the one me and mutual friends with sci-fi, took that for me to like go completely haywire, crazy, just like balls to the wall drinking, for me to be like, yo, this is not cool. I will, and then at that point I wanted to stop. I was like,
that was the breaking point for you?
Right. That was the breaking point. Yeah. So like, just going back to like what, Dave and Rogan was talking about, is like the person has to want the change bad. Like you're like, this is it. I don't want to do what I did before. I want to do different. I want to be helped. I'm open to help, or I want open to change.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I process that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, someone as myself, there's a lot of times where people might talk to you, and like when you're like upset and someone's trying to give you, I guess, advice, right, or trying to help you,
mm-hmm.
right? And let's say, for example, I'm trying to help you, Zobe, right? And
mm-hmm.
you're like, I'm giving you, or I'm attempting to help you, and you're just saying, like, okay, sure, like, okay. But deep down, you're kind of like mad at either the situation or at yourself, and you're just like, yeah, cool, bro, like, you're giving me your advice, but you're not gonna use you're not gonna take it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's probably
I know
what
you're
happened.
saying. You've asked me this before.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're like, in our own personal conversations, you're like, oh, I gave this person some advice, but they didn't take my advice. So what is that? Is that fucked up?
I think it's fine. Like,
yeah.
Like, for example, for myself and, my friend group,
right.
I'm not going to delve on what we talk about, but, I've helped them in certain situations. And, like I say, either you could take the advice, like I say to all my homies, my close ones, I'm always here for you. If you ever need to talk, just hit me up. Like, I care about you, and, I want to see you, do your best. Like what a lot of people say today, I just want to see my friends win. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And for, my close friends, it makes me upset when, I see them, not doing the best.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one to talk either. I have my own issue and stuff
right.
I'm struggling with, right now. And I know a lot of people are, struggling during COVID, a lot of self-doubt, being suicidal, not sure about, what you want to do and stuff. But basically what I'm saying is, maybe that's probably what happened with Anthony Bourdain and Dave. Where Dave's like, hey, man, I have this great support system. this is what's been helping me. And obviously, just because something's helping you might not help someone else. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm assuming, because Dave's been to all these different kind of like AA, better help
Mhm.
retreats. They probably would have helped
Right.
Anthony Bourdain with whatever vices he was going through, whether it's going back to drugs
Hmm.
and drinking heavily. We don't
Right.
know. I mean,
We don't
from
know.
what I remember, he left his wife, he got a new young hot girlfriend, and it still
True.
it still seemed,
Yeah.
from my point of view, that he was doing okay. He is still doing shows.
Right.
He looked healthy. He was doing jiu-jitsu. He had a six-pack. So I mean,
Right.
at the end of the day, we could just speculate. We're never gonna really know. But I thought
Right.
that was really touching and dope to see, Dave let it all out on the table.
Right. He really opened up. Yeah, we got like it was like the vulnerable moment from Dave because we don't really remember like back in DVDSA day. It was more about him, like ego, like yeah, I'm this big shot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing all this crazy shit. I'm like all over the fucking place, fucking this person, like just crazy stories, right? The thing that attracted a lot of people to that show, but deep down inside, he was like hurting bad,
Mm-hmm.
and I think yeah, we don't know that until the person really opens up, like they're at the point where they're like, I need help, and this is where I'm at, and I'm willing to change to do what is necessary for me to progress to be healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you have to want to get help, and
Hmm.
sometimes a lot of people, not just sometimes, a lot of people are, they're stubborn, they're stuck in their own ways. So it really
Right.
shows a lot of, growth when someone does, make the effort to get help,
Hmm.
or reach out for help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Fuck
I
yeah,
mean, I think someone like Kanye could benefit from some kind of therapy right now.
yeah. I
Like,
mean,
because Dave mentioned him in the things, like, yeah, talking about his old ways, old Dave, like
mm-hmm,
just going crazy, like I'm a genius, oh my god, da, da.
mm-hmm.
That's what he's going through, and yeah, I mean, um, that's like you, and I think he just like he had to humble himself. Dave had to humble himself to go through the therapy to, maybe like I don't know, like I heard, like maybe the ayahuasca helped a little bit, and then it broke down some of his self defense walls, and then him going to Africa was another level when he was with those tribes people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he learned how they were living, and he had to self reflect. Like, hey, I've come from this like Western world, and I'm a rich person. I got all this stuff taken care. I can do anything I want. Food I can get it from supermarket.
Yeah, because
But these
yeah,
people, they just like kind of they live and breathe off the land, and they value things. They're like they're present in the moment.
yeah, I agree.
Um,
And he talks about comfort is the killer of creativity. And
right.
I think, yeah. Oh, now I remember. That's when he was going on that his rant, and like pre Dave showed up, and he was like screaming in front of the mic, like you know
Uh-huh.
you know don't save anything for this one back and shit like that.
All
And
those, yeah, that was like that old Dave, because there wasn't that. I remember a lot of people were like, a lot of fans were like kind of hopping on that, and but then they didn't really understand where it was coming from, you know.
mm-hmm.
But now we like from this episode here, that was some old Dave like stuff like that got Dave to where he's at, but it wasn't making him healthy. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
Right.
fuck man, like
Like Rogan was saying. Remember, he was saying like, what is it? A lot of people think it's like, oh, I'm gonna be successful. I'm gonna make all this money. Da 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 da. But he's like, not necessary. You're successful on paper,
mm-hmm.
but you have all this other stuff that's not successful in your life. Like your relationships with your family and friends is like completely toxic. The way you treat people is toxic. Whatever. Like that's not success, right?
Yeah.
So
Like they
that's the
said,
part that people
where
don't
when they're at the
understand.
restaurant, like Dave made, people want to be rich and famous, but try being rich first, then be
Right.
famous. There's all
Right.
this
Then
quote
think about
unquote
that.
added bullshit. Like he said, he's like, oh, I'm fine. Like, he's complaining about shit, but he's like, guess what? I'm still rich. So you're comfortable. You're fine.
Right.
And I think it's funny that he uses Africa as an escape, just like Dave Chappelle. Like if they're saying a correlation between the two.
Yeah, everybody goes. All the Daves go to Africa.
Yeah, when they go crazy.
Man, maybe Kanye should go live with the tribesmen of Congo.
Yeah.
Congo tribes people.
Fuck, dude. The beginning of the episode was dope. Like, I like the way how like he kind of like eased into the episode where like it's funny that he was the guest right after Post Malone and he could smell the cigarette off the mic, and then he starts off the podcast complimenting Joe, and he's like, you have a really beautiful skull, this and that. He gave him like 10 compliments or some shit. It was fucking funny.
5 or 10.
Yeah. It was just, to me, it caught me off guard, seeing Dave back on. Because, he's just saying, like, oh, maybe I would have just waited till, you were in Texas or, not do it at all. I think it's dope that at least in some form, Joe Rogan's actually trying to be, like, push Dave to, like, come back into the limelight.
Yeah.
Which
I think for that to happen, I don't know if he... You know how he ran? I mean, we went to the Choe Show art experience.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we can't talk too much about it because we signed NDAs and stuff. I mean,
but he was able to organize that event.
Yeah, but
so
that was pre-COVID.
If he can apply,
you know what I'm saying?
Right, that was pre-COVID.
Like supposedly there's a phase 2.
Supposedly
from what
I mean, he kind of mentioned it again.
Yeah, and.
But I'm saying like his organizational skills and the fact that he was able to execute that event. If he was able to do that, but in a podcast form, like have that same mentality, I think he'd be. If you were to return to do a podcast,
I mean,
again.
if he were able to return right now, I mean, it would be completely different. Everyone in the group is basically at a different point in their lives.
Definitely, yeah. It would be more solo,
I'm
right?
just saying that people have kids, they don't live in LA anymore.
Right.
I mean,
Asa's in New York.
Yeah, I mean, if he were to bring the gang back together, I think realistically it would probably just be maybe. Hopefully, he would bring back Steve Lee. It'd be like him, Steve Lee, maybe Bobby Trivia.
Yeah.
Maybe Money Mark. Maybe Critter. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, mostly everyone's gone, to be honest. I mean, the Mongchi band members are still in LA, mostly in LA and stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
yeah. But I mean, maybe more like a podcast of himself.
Of himself,
his own...
more like a solo ranch type episode. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Talking about art, talking about his art stuff, and just what he's going through, his healing process.
Yeah.
And maybe bringing on guests relating to that.
And a lot of other people. I mean, it's gonna be hard to see, but like if you could find it or listen, or if you have listened to any of his solo ranch episodes, there's a lot to take away from it. You don't have to be a fucking a painter, artist, or whatever to take some very, I mean, at least in my mind, valuable lessons or advice from those talks and apply it to your own self, which I know you and me and others close to our group or fandom of Dave or whatever DVD say have taken those lessons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's like I mean, earlier we were talking about that whole like leave nothing to swim back, like that whole mentality, like it's definitely if somebody needs that push, they need that push to like get out there, do just or like the pigeon, the gangster bird. Right, like get out of your comfort zone and like those are good. In of itself, it's good. It's just like I think with this episode, Rogan is just putting those more into context as like that will get you to a certain place. But if you're just thinking what is your idea of success? You know what I mean? Like if your idea of success is only like just the material type stuff, just what being famous, that kind of thing. If that's your idea, then you don't fully grasp like that aspect of success is like lacking. So But yeah, those solo ranch episodes, like we got a little glimpse of it in this episode with Rogan. Like he gave a little, like basically unreleased stuff, like
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
that like the crew told him, like, nah, you cannot put this stuff out there,
it's
man.
funny because I mean we're not gonna break down every fucking thing about this fucking episode, or maybe we will, but like when he's talking about talking in tongues and stuff, and alien talk.
Yeah,
I mean, if you were able to capture that episode because it wasn't up for that very long, there's an
right.
episode of DVDSA Saga 2 where basically he has some of the actors that was
Mm-hmm.
there for November 2nd,
Right.
and they basically the whole fucking episode is literally talking in tongues.
Tongue in tongues,
Yep,
alien
with Steve
languages.
Lee.
Right. He was
Fucking
there. Yeah.
amazing. Um, um, quick fun fact: when the episode aired, I was actually with Zobe,
Yeah.
and we were with our good friend Be Happy, and this is
Mm-hmm.
around the time where DVDSA is still happening, and we did a fan meetup in San Francisco. I think we talked about it
Yeah.
in the first episode, maybe. Did we? I think we did.
We
I think we
think we
might have touched
mentioned
on
a
the
little
subject.
bit.
Yeah, Zobi said fuck
Yeah, there
someone.
was a guy trying to break into our room.
Yeah, so this guy tried breaking into our room. He had a key
Yeah.
card. Luckily, I think it was either you or me who put like the top lock when we were locking the door.
Yeah. So.
And so
Yep.
like it's a door stopper or whatever, lock stopper, whatever the fuck it's called. So the doors will
Yeah.
only open up a little bit, and the top part's holding it. And I'm like, yo, what
Yeah.
the fuck? Who's trying to get in our the apartment? It's only a small, or not apartment. I mean the hotel room. It's a small
Yeah.
one bedroom or one room hotel.
Right.
And then we're like freaking out, and we're like, hey man, this you must have the wrong hotel room. And we're calling the hotel room. We're like, hey man, this guy has a key card to our spa. Like, yo, what the fuck? Like, this is
Uh-huh.
crazy. I just remember,
But yeah,
like,
that.
that was crazy.
But we were watching that. Yeah. But then, so happens that on that day we were trying to watch that the alien language.
Yeah, it was. I'll definitely say it was kind of
Episode.
hard to watch because you're like, what the fuck
Right.
is this shit, dude? Like,
Right.
I was like,
Like we've seen weird stuff with DVDSA, but that was like, oh, like what?
yeah.
What is this?
I mean, at face value, I'll be honest. Back then, I was like, yo, what is
Uh-huh.
this dumb shit? Like, what the fuck? But
Right.
hey, man, you mean BB stuck it through and watched the whole thing. And I was like,
I think she
oh.
went to sleep.
She might have went to
'Cause she
sleep.
was like-
because I remember
she was
she was
like,
on
I
the
need
she
to-
was on the bed, and then you and me were on the
Right.
couch.
Right. But to find out, going back to the Rogan episode, to find out that he actually did more stuff, and then people told him, his friends told him, nah, man, don't put that out.
During that whole time, he was recording the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
there's so many like crazy shit that's not
Yeah.
out there.
Oh yeah, there's so much.
Yeah, they don't
Right.
even know, Zobi. They don't even
They
know.
don't know.
They
We
don't
don't know.
Sure.
Heck, we don't even know. Right. But like when he put the bottle in his mouth to simulate one of those episodes, like what was it? The butt plug in the mouth.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Rogan was like, okay, enough. I get the picture.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably tell, like, Joe was maybe getting a little bit annoyed a couple times throughout the
Uh-huh.
podcast. Like, oh, what the fuck?
Uh-huh.
Like, when they were talking tongues, that was fucking hilarious. Like, he got Joe Rogan to
Right.
try to speak tongues. Like, he could
That's
totally get
hilarious.
a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like, yeah, that was just a glimpse of the craziness of DVDSA right there. If you want a little glimpse of it, that's right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and then the part where he called him an alien, that was hilarious.
Mhm,
Called Rogan an alien. He was like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Yeah. Did you watch the Post Malone Joe Rogan episode?
I did not.
I think
I
it's
tried.
kind of
I
worth the
started,
listen.
but I didn't.
I
finish it.
mean, like, I'm not like the biggest Post Malone fan, to be honest.
Same.
But-
yeah, he's alright.
And it's a
Yeah.
long episode. It's 4 hours, but I listened
Yeah.
to all of it, and the part where they talk about ghosts and stuff, because Post Malone was I think friends with one of the ghost hunters,
Oh, okay.
and Joe Rogan made a good point about how come there's no ghosts on beaches. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, ghosts on beaches?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's was it like ghost ships,
Mm-hmm.
like pirate ships?
Yeah, but like
I've
at the
heard those,
beach, or
but
like at
on
the
an
casino.
actual beach?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like if we went Santa Cruz, like where the fuck? How come there's no ghosts? People die out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I don't know if you believe in ghosts or not. I mean, I kind of do, I guess.
I've never seen one, but like
you've had some experiences.
I don't have any experience. I can't say like I've seen a ghost. No, but I know like people who say they have, but I personally have not.
Yeah, me personally, I've never had any experiences with ghosts and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that shirt he made for Joe Rogan was tight.
Right.
It had the monk goes on it, and his attempt or his interpretation of ghosts.
Ghosts on the beach. Yeah. No, it's good that dude. He's been in his art like since I've noticed everybody's kind of like getting more active or so. So you see a lot of he's Choe's been posting a lot of stuff on Instagram lately.
Well, I feel like he just takes breaks and then he comes back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just for himself, maybe like a social media break. I mean, cause he'll go through spurts of posting stuff on IG. He'll post really cryptic, like IGTV, videos. You know what I'm saying?
Some throwback stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that edit you made of him as the cult leader, dude.
I was surprised. I was like, what the hell? And then they were talking about that in the very beginning too. And Rogan was like, "Hey, you got your strawberry hair cult leader now."
It was funny that he was telling Joe Rogan that he could start his own cult. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With his followers.
Right. I mean, some people they follow Rogan pretty closely.
Yeah.
He's got like a really hardcore fan base.
Yeah, Joe Rogan is all to them, bro.
Right. Until he says something that they don't like, then it's like, fuck you, Joe.
Yeah,
you're an Illuminati stooge.
How about you? What was like your favorite moment? And then
my favorite moment.
I'm gonna try and think about it while you tell us, your favorite moment for that episode. By the way, don't listen to just the audio. Actually, watch the video for the
watch
episode.
it.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Right. Like takeaway, like definitely like him opening up really like was. Wow.
I mean, he's a pretty open guy in general, you know what I'm saying? Like, just like, I feel like this time around, he was just being really open and honest with himself, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Right, and you could see the therapy.
At face value, you could, because, I'm just going to use this as an example, a lot of people who may not even know Dave, might think he's just some asshole. You know what I'm saying? Like like a prime example, I would probably say is like those Stevie Weeby episodes where it's very cryptic, and Dave's the guest, but then it's like mostly like Dave interviewing Steve. You know what I'm saying?
And then he comes off a certain way.
Yeah, he comes off as like a dick and stuff. Because to you and me, I'm not saying Dave hasn't done any wrong in general, but like to you and me, like we're like, I guess fanboys or like
we only see from the outside.
What I'm trying to say is like we understand what he's trying to say, or we think that we understand what he's trying to convey or whatever when he was on DVD say, or what I'm trying to say is like when we watch him, it's not like we're getting that like that feeling from him like, oh man, this guy's kind of a dick, like why is he treating Steve like shit, or this or that, or vice versa, like why is it so awkward, and like why did they do this or that. There's
like a context behind it that I think people miss if they just like accidentally found that episode and they just saw it for the first time.
Dude. I remember now. Fuck, dude. Okay. I you know what? I always say I have great memory, but I've been like blanking out and shit lately. Fuck COVID-19, bro, in 2020. But guys, if you haven't listened to episode 5, we actually talk about cancellation, cancel culture. And funny enough, Dave was, kind of acting like old Dave, trying to, be like high and mighty. He was, on Joe Rogan episodes, trying to say like, I want to get canceled, like it gets him excited, like I thought that was really funny, kind of saying like, oh Dave, leak out for a second, because Joe Rogan did make a great point where when Dave did try to get canceled, we're not going to talk about the subject of why he tried or why Dave was,
you go Google it,
you can go Google that shit, but I think it's funny that he didn't really get canceled. Kind of,
No,
I mean,
because
some
then
of this shit did get taken down from
people
Vice or
tried,
whatever. They tried,
right?
but I
But
mean, from our
it was
point of
on
view,
his end, though.
yeah, it was
We
on
find
him.
out from this episode, his friend, his team, his people, his friends, they helped, because he was not in a good place.
Mm-hmm.
He was just going wild,
Yeah,
and they kind of reined him in, and they took down a lot of that stuff
that's right, guys.
to
If
save
you're
him.
listening and you're
Yeah.
Dave's friends, it's me, Pikachu. You need to take down Zobe. He's the guy that's re-uploading all the episodes. And I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, I don't do any of
You
that.
need to get this
shit.
guy off the internet. DDoS this
Nah.
motherfucker.
Shut up. No. No.
He's the guy charging people money for links. Nah, I'm just kidding.
What?
I'm joking.
People are doing that? That's crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's crazy.
There's people out there freeing for specific episodes and shit.
Oh, really? That's crazy. I mean,
But,
I remember people giving me shit on the Reddit. That's why I stopped posting or
what,
anything on
the
that.
DVDSA Reddit?
They're like, why is it so slow? Why is the bandwidth? I'm like, dude, it's free, dude. That's why. Like, quit complaining.
I mean, there's hella episodes, and they're all over an hour long. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So imagine
Especially if you're
that
trying to download video, too. It's a lot. If it's
and
not just audio.
it took me like a month, or no, not a month. It took me somewhere between a month time frame to like get all of that stuff up, and that's just talking about like the core sagas. We're not even talking about like the wed November 2nd or any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're just talking about the main interview podcast format. Like it took, so for people to complain, I was like, fuck that shit.
Dude, what's the Zobe, can you get me this episode, please? I think I've only asked you once for one episode.
I think so, yeah, just one, because I think you asked me for the episode that you personally like found that you started watching DVD, say the Hikaru one.
His name is Hikaru, okay, and it's episode 49, Hong Kong.
Yeah, episode 49. Okay. Don't get all worked up.
No, I'm just busting your balls, bro. No, that's a good episode.
Yeah.
Sorry for like backtracking and stuff, but like, him talking about being canceled, right? I mean, like I said, we talk about it in episode 5. I don't know if this is going to be episode 6 or episode 7. What we're recording right now, it's August 1st, first of the month. Bone Thugs and Harmony. But
first of the month.
I mean, what did you think about that part about
that
Dave
part when he talked about I think when
he survived the cancel culture, because I remember when that particular topic came up, and sorry for interrupting you, but that particular fuck, I can't even talk, particular topic came out, and I just remember the internet, like Twitter was trying to cancel him, all these women and stuff, and it got kind of ugly. I was worried for a second, because I was like, ooh, this is not a good look for Dave. And this was towards near the end of Saga 1. I think it was right before, what I want to say, before the ranch episodes, when they all go to the ranch, to Big Bear, to record their podcast.
Before Mongchi formed and everything.
Like, Mongchi was forming, but it was before, like, Money Mark was like, all right, guys, let's go to the cabin and let's pump out an album. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
That was very
touch and go.
That particular episode. I mean, we know which one it is.
Right.
That was crazy. Like that particular story, which I know is not on the internet. I mean, you're gonna have to dig really fucking hard to find it. I mean, we haven't. Yeah. But like, like. That's the type of shit where, like, Joe Rogan's like, hold up, I need to hear the last 5 minutes of this fucking conversation because it's so fucking crazy what's happening.
It was I remember it was kind of hard that was another hard to listen moment. Like, what did he just say?
Because, to some people, you could be listening and be like, is this guy joking? Or
for real?
Is this for real? Like, holy shit, this guy's a piece of shit, he's sick, blah, 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 this and that. And you're like, oh... But he definitely survived that early onslaught of cancel culture. I think if that happened today, though, like it's crazy enough, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that shit that happened, that was like 3, 4 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And
Right. Or no, it was like at least
almost 5.
like 5.
Yeah,
I want to say 5, 5
and
or 6, something
it's
like that.
to what I'm saying is it's crazy how much like this internet
Times have
culture
changed.
has like
Right.
evolved over the years. Because if
Right.
we look at early like the 2010s, like 2010 till now, you could get a lot away with a lot of stuff on the internet per se. You know what I'm saying? Like we said,
Yeah.
I hate to like backtrack to our previous episode, but like all these people that wouldn't have gotten canceled are getting canceled now in this day and
Right.
age. And
Right.
I mean, in my
Yeah.
opinion, I still think cancel culture is kind of cancer in a sense. I mean,
Mm-hmm. But I think
I'm
it's
not defending any of the people
shitty
who are
behavior.
doing like real bad shit.
Right.
But I
But I
mean,
think
fuck.
it's growing right now. It's like it's not like I think there's enough people to call in because people are speaking out, like
Mm-hmm.
to the nuances. Like, hey, that might not be the right situation, or like, whoa, you guys are going overboard here. Like because there are those pushbacks. Like, I think like something like the Dave situation might not, might look different now, or like then it's like it was more like boom, go for the jugular, and that person's like done. Now it's like did people gonna bring stuff up, but is it gonna stick? Like it may or may not stick now, or like people have like we talked about in the the last either the last episode, the cancel episode when
Mm-hmm.
we talked about it. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, like and and him going away and seeking therapy that helped out too.
because
I think
like if we look
because
back, when Saga 1 ended, how long was a break till Dave came back? Would you say 6 months, 4 months? Do you remember this, right?
mm,
Because Saga 1 ended, and that was basically like the wrap up of them recording Mongshi. You know what I'm saying?
right,
And then they came back, and they came
and
back
they came
hard.
back. They came back hard,
Yeah,
and then they went away again.
and then that was it. Well, because they came back, and it was Saga 2, and it was in the white room. You know what I'm saying?
Right, the
Every
white room.
episode
Yeah,
they're wearing all white. White
yeah,
leggings, bras, panties, shorts, tank tops.
yeah. That's Kanye Dave right there.
That's Kanye Dave going like peak crazy.
I'm a god.
Oh my god! Because
Feel my power.
it was because we remember like sometimes Dave would be out of the room and he would have like there would be like on the top like a speaker and Dave would talk
Yeah,
through the mic, and then
right.
the producer, shout out Alex, he'd be
Yeah,
doing shit because that shit was
right.
crazy when they were in like
That's why
basically
I
asylum
made
room. Oh my god!
that's right. That's why I made that cult leader graphic.
Dude, that should be
Because I was just in the moment. I'm like, dude,
that should be our
these are
graphic video for this episode for sure.
okay. Or I'll do something.
Yeah, you'll
I'll
do some
little,
cool shit. Yeah.
I'll do some cool shit. I'll do a little throwback Chagnesia edit, the
Yeah, yeah,
video
yeah.
edit thing. But yeah, no, I was just like vibing off that moment. He's like, oh, he's our dude. He's our cult. Because we have our DVD that say fam, super fans. So we're his like, inner core, so to speak, acolytes or whatever. Spreading the message. I was kind of like, basically kind of like, what do you call it? Like role playing,
Mm.
right? Just leaning into it a little bit, But yeah, hindsight looking at it, like yeah, that was Pika. Him
That was like
just
peak
in
crazy.
his ego.
I mean, me personally, I would say probably Saga 1's my favorite, in my opinion, because
Uh-huh.
they would actually.
In terms of like what drew you to the podcast, like that.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Saga 2, but the reason
Mhm.
I'm saying I like Saga 1 is because like they got to like wear different clothes. They come in, and it's like more of a traditional sense podcast. Saga 2 is
Right.
like peak out there. They're literally in a padded
Right.
asylum room where like if you're like a schizophrenic or whatever, they'd lock you up there in a
Yeah.
straitjacket. Because that shit was crazy. Like
Yeah.
every episode was like, whoa.
Yeah, pretty much. And then once it got to the alien language one, that was like the like
Okay.
the line, like, okay, whoa, I think I've
when
seen
they did the
everything.
remember when they did the that one episode where it's like all porn stars and then there's Asa and then they have like the
Uh-huh.
alien guy like translating. Remember?
Yeah,
Where
I
he
remember that
oh
one.
yeah, I think I still have a clip on one of my phones where like he's to try and do like sign language or whatever of Asa and talking about like a guy coming on her in her mouth.
It's
The
that
Latin
Latin
dude.
dude.
Yeah, and he's like
Yeah.
reenacts it perfectly. I was dying laughing. I was like, holy fucking shit, this is amazing.
Uh-huh.
Holy shit. Man.
Yeah, man, good,
Good
crazy
fucking
times.
no,
Good but crazy.
the people he had, the guest that this just seems like us gassing up DV to say, but whatever, I don't give a fuck. Dude, like
Yeah.
some of the biggest IG models on Instagram
Or
before
on
they
that show.
before they blew up, they were literally guests on that
Right.
show.
Or they were buzzing, or they're just starting. Like, what's her? And you would know. Yeah,
I know. Hey, by the
know.
way, there's some people there. If you want to see their butthole, you can see it if you can find the video.
Yeah, good luck.
Good
with
luck.
that.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
That's I think that was all that November 2nd
it's
material.
all the November 2nd material was.
Because that day
amazing.
they were just shooting. They're just running around shooting stuff, and then
It was like
while
for
people
24
are
hours.
because then while people are lining up for the wedding at the venue,
Mm-hmm.
they were still at the warehouse doing all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, crazy Dave. But that's the old Dave. The new Dave is
Well, let's segue into this. Basically at the tail end,
Different.
Joe Rogan's telling David Choe's telling Joe Rogan that he might do an art show, in this COVID time, and there might be another Choe show. I mean, from what I can say, and at least from what I know, there might be another Choe show, I guess. I mean, if you just go to ChoeShow.com, if you're a listener right now, I think you can still apply to maybe be a recipient or be a part of the show.
Always show up.
I mean, just show up.
Show up.
I mean, you and me, we've gone the first round. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I really wish, we could talk about what happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we can't really.
I really wish
if you want to know, if you look, you'll find. But
yeah, I really wish we could do a breakdown.
Go into our our experience.
Yeah, that's all I can say. Just fuck.
But we can't.
I mean, I've met other people who have gone and they've told you and me what happened, but I really wish there was a platform to break it down. What happened, because it's not something I can just do in one sitting. It was, or maybe I could, but it was just life changing.
I mean, we did it in. Yeah, we did it in once. Yeah, we just did it in the day that we went there. But what I will say is, what we can say is just things that he's already talked about. Just alluding to things like the therapy stuff that he did. I don't know. It's kind of like the arch, it's kind of like the two kind of influenced each other, I think.
Yeah.
In some ways, his experience there, and we just kind of experienced what he experienced in some sense through the art.
Yeah. If you're listening and you want Choe Show,
I know I'm sounding hella vague.
I know.
Stuff,
if you're listening right now and you went to Choe Show, they don't know exactly what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. But yeah, he spoke about that therapy session down in Mississippi, and the guy, the meth guy. That's pretty crazy.
Oh yeah, Paco. My bad, I blinked out for a second. Yeah,
you blanked out. No,
obviously,
Paco.
Paco.
Yeah.
He did meth and he let Mexican dudes blow him.
Yeah,
he's
crazy.
He's closeted gay.
Right. But yeah, when he was explaining that situation, it kind of gave me a little flashback to my little cult thing that I thing, self-help thing that I was going through. Like we were touching on some intense
Subject.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right, intense behavioral type stuff like that. Yeah, I know. I talked about it already. So if you want to know that experience, check back to that first episode of our podcast. I go into it. But yeah,
Yeah,
give me a
speaking
little
of
flashback.
cults, dude, like I said before, like, you know, there's people who sometimes think that we're in a fucking cult, with how secretive we are sometimes with our own little close knit group of fans of DVD.
Oh, yeah?
David Choe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Funny
I
enough,
mean,
I've legit had people that I grew up with from like elementary school like sit me down and be like, "Hey man, are you in a cult?" And I would just laugh, because I mean, technically we're not, but sometimes we are. Shout out to my fellow cult leader, Sci-Fi Ruben.
Colby. I mean, we say it. We say
it jokingly, but like, I don't know.
Right.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. It's just like, because we met each other through this. The way we met each other is just very unique.
Yeah, we have this camaraderie. I can't even talk.
Right.
But you know what I'm fucking trying to say. But like,
right.
Oh man, like I said, man, I have so much love for Zobe, and I know we've been jumping all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, typical Dave Choe fashion, right? He jumps around. Although in this episode with Rogan really kept him.
He kept him not necessarily level-headed, but he got him like not to jump
sticking
around too
to the
much.
Topic.
Like, the beginning half, it's like him talking, complimenting Joe, and then him talking about his own vices, and kind of segueing into Tanzania, and him like, oh yeah, another thing is like him hitchhiking and the gay
cowboy
Walter, or whatever.
Yeah.
He called him Walter, just like from the guy from Breaking Bad. But like that shit, talking about how he's like, I can't do a Western voice, but like,
can I touch you guys?
I want to do it, but I want to. I don't want to laugh.
I suck.
But
it
you basically
like
insert Western Pika.
Western voice.
Yeah, insert Western Pika, and
hey guys.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna attempt to do it. I know, Melody, or whoever the fuck's listening right now, they're like, you fucking bitch, just do the voice. I could do it, but
horrible accents.
I'm gonna try not. I'm not gonna do it. But basically, he's like, hey, you guys were looking mad cute. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing that was crazy, like, almost like reminding me of like all that crazy stories, when he's, with that, was it German or British dude, when they're like hiking
in the Congo.
In the Congo, yeah.
This is the first time.
Yeah,
because he's been
before
Africa
he went there with Vice, and then he's there, and like the white
guy's supposed to be groomed to be some kind of like big shot in Germany,
allegedly.
Right, allegedly. And then he was there on like to have intimate relations with women's.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he was fetishizing African Americans.
Africans, no,
Africans.
just Africans.
Yeah, not African
he's in Africa.
Yeah, Africans. My bad.
Yeah.
He wanted that black puss.
Yeah, and I could tell like Dave was like, because he knows like he was like, I shouldn't have said that, but then Rogan was reassuring him, no, it's not you that's having issues or problematic. It's you're just telling the story as is. Like, there was this guy, and that's what he wanted to do, and
but dude, he talked about how he almost killed him allegedly. Remember, or attempted to kill him.
Right. Allegedly, because he ate all his rations.
He ate all the rations, and he ate the tuna and shit. And he's talking about like the tuna's like all over his face, the juices, and he was like, "Oh, I want to drop this fucking boulder."
That's a piece of shit person, man. I could tell when he was telling that story, I was viscerally feel like, I would have dropped that shit on that guy. Like, nobody will know. Like that evil, like he. The thing that was interesting is like Dave has, I guess. I don't know if this is something that he developed through therapy, but he's able to compartmentalize his different personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And he was pulling these different personalities. Yeah, going back to earlier, you're asking me about favorite moments. Like the moments when Dave was able to like pull out old Dave, pull out serial killer Dave, pulling out like quiet Dave, like all these different Daves. He's like, it's like a bus there, and they're all in there, and I'm able to, like, I think maybe that's like a new coping mechanism that he maybe learned from, through therapy, like how to because the thing is like, you don't want to be all like having self-esteem, having self-appreciation for yourself. So maybe they taught him like, you gotta like understand like these are different. It's like, how like in the beginning you're saying like you are enough.
Yeah.
Like that. I think that it goes back to that. It's like these are all facets of him. They're not necessarily, it's part of his history, but then he's got to learn how to control.
Yeah.
And we saw him like, he's like, oh, hey, Dave, chill. Like he's able to like, which is good. Like,
yeah, and he was catching himself. Like, remember, he walked into the studio beforehand and he was talking to Joe Rogan's guys. Them moving to Texas,
right?
And then he saw the old painting he painted of Joe, and his initial thoughts were, negative, toxic, saying, this is trash or shit or whatever. Like, I could do better, and it kind of speaks volumes about like, how,
right. And then Joe was like, no, that was a moment in time. That don't.
He's like, it's
don't
good
go
art.
back there.
Yeah.
It's good art. You did a good job.
Because he's saying, right now he's struggling. That he was relating to Picasso, and he did like a humble brag saying where he went to that private museum showing all the different time periods of artwork from Picasso, and his depiction of at the age of 15 you could really tell Picasso's bored, and he's basically he's trying to say like he wants to get back to when you first did art and you were like, I guess, passionate about it, or
passionate, discovering things just like fresh and new, and it's interesting that he picked Picasso too as a person,
what, how so?
To mention.
Why?
Like Picasso was also a very troubled artist to say. Do your Google researches and you look him up and learn. I don't want to like completely go through that, but definitely he had his issues, he had his demons too. And if you were to take took Picasso from history and plucked him into 2020, I don't know, people might cancel him. So it's interesting. But him relating back to that and just like, it was a good episode for you to, I mean, if you're an artist out there, whichever medium, whether it's painting, music, sports, whatever, it's a good episode to watch and like self-reflect too, highly recommend it.
I mean, for me, I think just to touch on was, a little bit about racism, and I think we talked about it a little bit, right? Previously on some of our episodes. I mean,
we touched a little bit.
I think it was episode 2 of our podcast where you touched on it, but basically, to wrap it up was, Dave with his dad, and he's older, and they had their windows down, and some racist shit happened, and also it was around the time where it's kind of like early pre-COVID, but
Academy Awards.
Yeah, Parasite. Right. Congratulations, Dave.
Yeah, all the people just like hitting him up.
Yeah, and fucking what's it called? Doing the slanted eye thing. Has anyone ever done that to you? Like, what's the racist Asian shit that people have done to you? You know what I'm saying? Because how like he froze up in that moment. And I'll just say this from my personal experience. Because a lot of times if someone does something racist towards you or fucked up, right, they're talking shit to you, you don't want to freeze up in that moment. You want to be the person that has a quick, witted response right back, fire back.
Right.
Cause
that's how people normally imagine it or think about it. Yeah.
If you take that moment to like pause and think, you already lost. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Fucking.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, like basically like Dave was like, this guy did the slatted eyes to Dave and told him to go back home, and he's in his car with his dad, and then he froze, and he wanted to do something, but he couldn't. Like, he's just frozen. And then when they pulled over somewhere on their way to this restaurant, and to get dinner or whatever, and he was just like, his dad already processed it and just like it's over him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what is it? Dave was still in it. He's just stewing. He's like, Korean this, da, 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 da. He's just like, livid. But then he couldn't, when the situation happened, he didn't really do anything. And he's telling Rogan this, and Rogan's just, well, yeah, all you could have done was just stare the guy down. Like, there's not much you can do because you don't know what that guy has on him. Yeah. Does he have a weapon?
I mean, obviously,
might come over and hurt you.
For that situation, and it just in any such situation in general, you have to think about it like in that spur of the moment. You're like, okay, I'm with my dad. He's old, and this other person that's being racist towards me, he's with his little kid, and jokingly, Dave's like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get out the car. I'm gonna pull over and I'm gonna go beat up his kid in front of him, and then Joe Rogan makes the point that obviously the guy's not gonna let you beat up his fucking kid. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, what if he
That's old Dave talking right there.
Like what if the guy knocked out Dave and then his dad's there like, what the fuck? He's old.
Right. Yeah.
So
no, like that.
Obviously you pick and choose your battles, but a lot of times where if people are being, because lately we've been seeing a lot of racist videos towards either Asians or just people in general. You know what I'm saying? Viral videos, TikTok, RIP TikTok, by the way. I guess Trump's gonna ban TikTok.
No, it's still going.
Really?
It's on. It's still, the app's still in my phone.
Yeah, but he's supposedly gonna get rid of it soon.
Supposedly. Yeah.
But
no, like, yeah. I mean, you were asking me about experiences, like, one that sticks. I mean, I'm sure. The one that sticks out to me in my head right now is like, this is like I was in high school age, still going to church at that time. And this one Sunday service, like, how you have your friends, pull up, they're trying to repark their car. And then there's this open spot right in front, VIP parking, so to speak. Right, so I'm saving the space, and then this white guy in a pickup truck pulls over, and he's like, get out the way. And he kept saying that, get out the way. And he's like, what? Do you speak English? I'm like, of course. And that was my response, or to something. That's my memory. Like, of course. Like, yeah, of course. Like, I try to be smart alecky about it. Like, yeah, like, of course I fucking know. Something like that, to that effect, right?
Yeah.
But then, like, I was very much feeling that freeze, like it's just like intense. Like, you feel it in your chest. You're just like you want to do something, but what can you really do? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Because you don't know what's gonna happen on the other end. That was a moment that really stuck out to me. I'm sure, like, there's a lot of little other, like, microaggressions, things, things people say, little sly things that I might have let slipped. But other than that, that's one moment, I don't know, for some reason, sticks out of my head. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, I'm trying to remember anything like racist towards me. Maybe it's just me being racist. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's okay if you don't.
Fuck. I think the only racist shit that's ever happened to me. It's like,
okay.
I think honestly, it's like Asian on Asian crime, where it's other Asians being racist towards me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there is.
Because what?
People think Asia's this one thing, but there's all these different, there's Chinese, Vietnamese, Filipinos, Thai, Laos, like all these Japanese, Korean, like there's so many different groups, right? But then within the groups, everybody's talking, there's a lot of shit talking and discrimination going on that people don't really realize outside of that community, They think we're just one monolith, but so yeah, we saying Asian on Asian discrimination. It happens. It definitely happens. Yeah.
Anything else you want to touch on, my friend?
I don't know. Maybe people should just watch the Rogan episode.
Yeah.
We touched on a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we just did this for us.
Check it out.
We just did this for us, honestly, and it's an episode.
Right.
But
because he hit me up. I started watching it. We're like, dude, we gotta we got processed this. So this is us processing what went down.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm gonna watch it again with my dad tomorrow.
Oh damn. Okay. Oh, that's right. Because he used. Okay. He's watched it too.
He's seen every episode too.
Yeah.
I watched like 30 minutes of it with him, and he's like, "Let's watch this tomorrow." He's like, "Let's finish watching the UFC fights," and I was like, "All right." Thanks guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. You know, I hope that our podcasts are that you're enjoying it and you're helping and it's helping you through these tough times. I mean, to me, this is helping me personally. It's great to always catch up with my buddy Zobe, and for me, it's like therapy, a little bit. Catching up with this dude.
Yeah.
I really like picking Zobe's brain apart and hearing his thought processes and stuff. But don't worry, our next episode we'll definitely hear some more cool DJ shit from Zobe.
Oh yeah, yeah. I heard. Y'all want to hear some more DJ stories? I got some. I know. I don't know if I might touch on it in this episode a little bit. Gave you a little teaser, but yeah, we'll do some more of that. And artwork stuff, fan art, keep them coming. Loving them so far.
Mm-hmm.
Tag us in the IGs and the Twitters, right?
Yeah. So thanks. Oh, by the way, everyone, we're on Anchor, .fm, but we're also now on Apple,
iTunes, Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. We're still on Spotify, Stitcher.
There's like a whole bunch of other ones that's listed in the Anchor platform.
Oh yeah.
You can find, it's like a little directory. You can find all of it. But like and subscribe.
Breaker, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public. Like some of these I haven't even heard of. Spotify. But yeah, and
I only really listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
For me, because I'm on Android, it's our Anchor website, Spotify, and I use this app called Podcast Addict. That's how I listen to Joe Rogan and our podcast and other stuff. Besides YouTube, obviously. And don't forget, guys, we're on YouTube, youtube.com/ETAWO podcasts. And same handle for our ID and our Twitter. So if you haven't already, hit us with follow. And especially right now that we're on Apple Podcasts, definitely leave a review and maybe
subscribe.
In the future we'll do some fan questions.
Yeah, that could be a possibility.
Yep.
Open to that.
Yep. All right. Well.
All right. Everything always works out.
Yep. Everything always works
podcast.
out. And stay safe in these crazy times.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.